One of the reasons this book has been so phenomenally successful is because it offers the first real explanation of why depressed people are continually complaining of being exhausted and tired, why they wake up tired in the mornings, why they find it very, very hard to motivate themselves at the beginning of every day. And if you understand the connection between dreaming, exhaustion and depression, it's possible for many, many people to help themselves out of their depression all by themselves. Many people have done this. One shouldn't make light of depression. It's one of the worst feelings anybody can have on this earth. It's so bad that some people actually kill themselves as a result of that feeling. All meaning seems to drain out of people's life when they get depressed. Now, why would that be? Why would that happen? They're worrying about needs not being met, innate needs not being met in their lives. They're worrying about losing control over aspects of their life. They're worrying about their insecurities, their loss of status perhaps, or how badly connected they are to other people. Maybe they're just not being stretched enough. All these needs that we have as a human being are just, some of them or all of them aren't being fulfilled in that person's life, and they start to worry. That worrying produces emotional arousal. That emotional arousal has to be discharged at night in dreams. Now, the average person spends about a quarter of their sleep time in dream sleep, known as REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, because the eyes are busy darting around underneath the eyelids. The rest of the time we spend in recuperative sleep, known as slow wave sleep. In dream sleep, the brain burns up energy there. And if you do more dream sleep than slow wave sleep, if the balance between dream sleep and slow wave sleep is disturbed, the brain and the body are not refreshed. And when you have so many arousals by this continual worrying that depressed people do, putting enormous pressure on the dreaming brain, they're dreaming much more intensely than people who aren't depressed. And this has been known for some 40 years, that depressed people dream far more intensely than non-depressed people. And this is why depressed people wake up tired in the mornings. The other really fascinating thing is it's not just a question of exhaustion when you wake up in the morning when you're depressed. It's also the lack of motivation. Now, the lack of motivation again comes back to this question of dreaming. When we dream, there's something called an orientation response, a pathway in the brain that's firing off. And that orientation response is the same response that we need in the daytime to focus our attention to do anything. Even to get your breakfast in the morning, to get the kids off to school or get off to work, just to do the ordinary task requires an orientation response. But if that orientation response, those neurons in the brain, have been firing excessively during this enormous amount of extra dreaming that a depressed person does, in the morning it's exhausted and they find it very difficult to motivate themselves to do anything, because you have to be able to orientate yourself, to focus your attention on the different tasks of the day just to get going. Now, there's one curious thing about this. That orientation response is what drives you to move, to take action throughout the day. And when you're taking action, life is meaningful. Meaning, a sense that life is purposeful, comes through the brain's need to take action in the universe, in the world. It's through actions, the things we do, that we find meaning. If we can't do things because our orientation response is exhausted, the sense that life is meaningful just drains away. It drains from us completely. And this is why many depressed people think that life is meaningless. Life is not worth living. And some of them even go away and kill themselves as a result of that, because that's a logical extension of that position. So it's worrying that causes excessive dreaming, which causes the depression. People worry because their innate needs, the needs that nature put into us through our genes, these innate needs aren't being met in that person's life. We call these needs the human givens, and they're well researched by psychologists. There are innate needs that have to be met in order for us to live a decent life. And they worry about this, they dream excessively, they wake up tired, and the cycle continues because they then got something else to worry about. Why the hell do they feel so awful? Once you understand depression from the human given's point of view, it's a straightforward thing to get people out of it usually. Therapists and counsellors who want to do something for their depressed patients need first to absorb the ideas in this book. They need to understand the connection between worrying, dreaming and exhaustion. And they need to understand why people worry, what causes stress. Research coming in now is showing that human givens therapy for depression is proving to be twice as effective as, for example, cognitive behavioural therapy, or CBT as it's known, which is the most favoured form of psychotherapy for treating depression to date. But now with this human givens therapy, it's possible for therapists around the world, once they absorb these ideas, to improve the way they deliver their services for patients. There is hope for depressed people for the first time, that there is an effective understanding of what's going on in depression, and that with that understanding they can be helped faster, more thoroughly, and they can start to live a better life as a result.